Hey, it's Frank here with 4D Honeybee, and on this video, actually I'm going to break it up into two videos. In the first video, I'm going to check the outside two hives because I put honey supers on them about a week ago. So I'm hoping that if nothing else, the bees have drawn out that comb and maybe they're starting to put nectar up there. Then I'm also going to check the middle hive, which looks like it's got a ton of activity here. Look at this. The middle hive hasn't done as well, so I fed it a week ago. I put almost 4 gallons of sugar water in, and it only lasted like 4 days. So I'd put the second brood box on there about, I think 10 days ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago. And I fed them so that would help them draw that out, because they haven't done as well as the outside two hives. So hopefully they've drawn out, and maybe they've put some brood in that second brood box. And I highly doubt that I can put on the honey supers there yet, but I do have them here. And just in case. So either I will put the supers on or I will continue feeding them so that they can catch up to the other two hives. So stick with me. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the smoker going, but I'm going to try not to use it. I don't think I need to go deep into the hives today unless I see something untoward. But one YouTuber mentioned that it's a good idea always to have the smoker going because you never know what's going to happen with the bees, and I think that's right. I tend to agree with that. Now, under this lid, I found another one of those jumping spiders that took one of my bees in a previous video, so as I open it, I'm going to be cautious to see if it's there again. Let's see. Nope. No spider, but a couple cocoons, which is where I think they either are born or they raise their young or where they hide. You see the cocoon there? There's a couple of them under here, so another one over here. Maybe I'll have a quick look in it. Oh, there he comes. Did you see that? That's where he's hiding. Look, look, there he comes. He's sneaking a peek. Are you going to take another one of my bees, jumping spider? Because I'm not too crazy about that. Look at that thing. It is gorgeous. It's big and ugly and scary. I don't like when it kills my bees, but you know what? As one YouTuber wrote below, that, you know, is natural pest control too, because he's probably, more than bees, he's probably taking out the odd hive beetle or the odd ant or other vermin that might not be good for the hive. So I'm going to let him live, but I'm going to move him away from the hive right now so that he doesn't take any of my ladies under my watch. I knew he'd be there. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's too much activity in this honey super yet. As you can see, I have turned around my my inner lid here so that the vent and entrance is facing up, as a lot of people suggested. So this is my 8-frame hive, right? This is where I actually made a mistake that I realized after the fact. I meant this to be a 9-frame honey super, right? Because I just didn't want to put 10 down there, because if you could put 9 and let them build out those frames a little wider, then it's less work for you to extract the honey. But right away, a bunch of YouTubers said that 8 is too few, and they're going to build up some weird comb, and it's not going to work right. And you know what? I can tell right off the bat they are correct. Look at this. First 2 frames are going to come up here, and they've connected the first 2 frames with comb instead of building it out. So right off the bat, I can tell you that they are correct. This frame would probably come out better. And that 8 frames is not a good idea. So look at the burr comb they've built out there, eh? That's not going to bode well to honey production. So I'm going to have to smoke those bees out of there, remove most of that comb, and then put another frame in to make it a little more manageable. I mean, it's good that they've built this frame, this comb out, but the way they're doing it is just not manageable for honey production. So there you go, lesson learned. 8 frames is not a good idea, and I do have another one that I can put in here, so I'll put the 9th frame in and I'll redistribute them, and hopefully they'll get back to an orderly process here. But hey, if you've just learned something, I've just learned something, and what I've learned is that 8 frames is not a good idea. So the rest of the hive, the rest of the honey super does not look built up at all. So I won't even bother pulling out more frames. What I'll do is smoke the bees off this one here, clean up that comb, take it with me. There's no nectar on here yet, so they're just starting to build it out. So it shouldn't set them back too much. And we will put the 9th frame in and see how 9 frames goes. I hate to smoke them this much, but I want to get all the bees off that comb so that I don't squish them when I remove the comb. Again, it would be nice just to remove the layer that's all messed up here and leave them the rest. And they have put some honey in that already, or some nectar at least. It's not sealed yet, but get these guys out of here. So that should do it. That's the carve job I've done. You can see they were already putting honey on. Now there's an example of where, again, I put my finger on a bee. It did not sting me, but I didn't like that buzzing sensation. And you just have to be cautious when you're working without gloves as to where you put your fingers, and I was not. So another little lesson learned that didn't cost me a sting. Now these bees are really generally quite well behaved, right? So I haven't been stung yet this year. And this is probably my most active hive. The other 2 hives that I have are even calmer than this one, which is pretty calm. So it lends itself to operating without gloves, and in this case without pants, or at least long pants, because it's stinking hot. It's for this area, Toronto, it's 30 degrees, which I think is about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So for this area, that's a pretty hot day. So it's uncomfortable to work in a lot of clothing, right? Even as it is, I'm sweating buckets and end up dropping a lot of sweat on the bees. So I will put another frame up here and make it a 9-frame box. And hopefully that'll work better. So I've got 10 frames in the other box. I was going to do 8 frames in this one and then 9 in the middle. But since this one has already started to be a disaster, I'm going to do 9 here and see if at least it works well with 9. At least they don't build it out as crazily as they were. So the other thing is that these are not drawn out frames, right? Most of these frames have very little previous wax on them. So I was told by other YouTubers that may mean that they don't build it out consistently. They build it out a little more erratically, and so far that is what I've seen as well. So we'll try 9 here and see how it works, and same type of thing. If we see that, I'll be back here in a week. If I see that 9 is not working well either, then we'll go back to 10 and consider it an experiment that didn't work out the way I hoped. Again, it's good to experiment on this type of stuff. I'm a 2nd-year beekeeper, so it's good to know what's going to work best for you and best for the bees at the same time. So I'll check the other hive in a second, but I'll put this one back together and then we'll call that a video. Then we'll check the middle hive in the next video.